The Senior Bowl's in the rearview mirror, and now these prospects will go on to prepare for their pro days or the combine. But I want to go back, take a look at who were the risers and fallers from the Senior Bowl. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead and get into it with my risers. And I'm going to start with TYJAE Spears. Now, this guy had an amazing week. First, coming in 5'9", 204. So, coming in with plus size. Already a big plus because he was, I think, 290, 295 initially, or that's what Tulane listed him at. So getting over that 200 with that good low center of gravity is nice. But then he proceeded to look like the best running back there. He really did. He had an outstanding week. He showed off acceleration. He showed off explosiveness. Showed, hey, I'm a legit home run threat. He had multiple, big yardage plays during scrimmages, and though we didn't really, I think he only got one carry in the game and a couple of receptions, but he kind of already proved what he wanted to prove there. Like, hey, I'm not just another guy to be lost in this very good running back class. I'm a top 5. I'm a top 7 run back in here. So now from early day 3, I got him now as top 75 prospect. And I just want to say this real quick with risers. There's gonna be some people not included on this list, and I'll at the end I'll talk about just some performances that I didn't mention prior to. But there were players that came in and had good Senior Bowls, just didn't necessarily affect their stock. It was like, oh, yeah, I expected them to be this good or play to this level or not be this good, and no kidding, they got put on their butt. This is fully for guys that had significant rises in their stock and not just stationary. All right, let's go ahead now, move on to the wide receiver position with Jayden Reed. He went from 6th round pick, midday 3 pick to a top 100 for me. He had one of the top speed scores there at the Senior Bowl. It was eventually beaten by, I'm trying to remember who. Was it Anthony Johnson? I'm not positive who ended up being Jayden Reed's speed score, but the dude was just unstoppable this whole week. Coming in weighing 5'11", 185. He accelerates well off the line, has very nifty footwork. He's hard to put a hand on there at the line of scrimmage, and it was just throughout the week. Day 2, he had that very nice victory in the one-on-ones on a deep ball where Ja'Cory Bennett was just draped over him for the whole route, and he still came down with it. Yeah, man, I think he's now in the day 2 conversation. It was a very, very good outing for Reed, and it was also a good outing here for Michael Wilson, who potentially, he's like a fringe top 100 player for me, but he was midday 3, but came in with prototypical X size, 6'1", 216, and he was just too tough to deal with, and that actually went to the game as well, where he basically sauced 2 safeties and went up at the catch point and made the grab for the tutty in the game. But he was very good in the one-on-ones, very good in the scrimmages. He had multiple wins. A lot of us remember where he just kind of not embarrassed, but he had a very, very good rep to Caillou Blue Kelly. But he just showed that explosiveness on the line, that he can win with physicality, that he's got crisp route running. There was day 2 of practices. He had that nice that red zone catch despite very sticky coverage by Riley Moss, who had a solid week. But I think, again, another guy who's probably didn't really do much for his stock. It remained stationary. Yeah, he's about that good. But no, Michael Wilson, man, was extraordinary. Now, the biggest thing with him is going to be the injury concern. I think he's only played like 14 games in the last 3 seasons. As we go and look, that's why I kind of say fringe day 2, because he could definitely get dropped because of those injuries. He's only played 13 games in the last 2 seasons because of injuries. Those injuries were undisclosed, but if you go back, okay, yeah, so it's just been the last 2 seasons he's had dealt with injuries. At least that's what I'm aware of. Oh no, he also missed 2 games in 2022, but that was the shortened season. So yeah, injuries are going to be the big red flag with him. It kind of kept him off the field. He never had that breakout, but good job by you, Michael Wilson. I'm not going to include Tank Dell here because I like Tank Dell, and he probably moved up like maybe like 10 spots for me, if that. So he had a good week. I thought he was like a solid riser. For the most part, I think a lot of guys just came in and just had neutral stocks. Like Trey Palmer came in, looked like how I expect him to, so I didn't really move him at all. Jonathan Mingo, again, a guy that's very solid, had a good week, but again, I already liked him to begin with, so still got him as an early day 3, and I feel like that's right. Tavion Wicks had good weeks of practice, didn't move him. So, like, yeah, a lot of guys just, they're just stocks remained neutral. Let's go to the tight ends with Durham Payne, who, man, his day 3 of practice and then the game, mama mia, it looked good, man. He had some nice grabs all day 3 of practice. He had a very nice game as well. I'm trying to think, was it the game? The game, he had that tough catch that a lot of people thought should have been a touchdown, but it was right call. He was out right before the end zone along the sideline. I think it was day 3 of practice where Riley Moss came over, made a good play on the ball, and nearly tore off Durham's head, like helmet popped off, but he came down with the grab. I thought Payne did a lot of good work for him. I had him as a midday 3. Now I'm got him early day 3, so 4th, 5th round area. 6'5", 258. Yeah, thought he did a good job. We could also mention like Luke Musgrave. I think he came in, he looked good. He just looked good, and I walked away like, yeah, you know what? He's probably better than I think, but didn't move him like up extraordinarily. I think I probably just bounced him up like another guy that probably went up like 5 or 10 spots for me on my big board. But yeah, no, I thought he had a solid week. I thought Davis Allen had a good week. He moved up, but not extraordinarily. I think I had a midday 3 or a 6th round grade on him. Now I just got a 5th round grade on him, which is fine. Josh Wiley, thanks to Alex from Hammer Sports, I already kind of liked him, so he came in, had a really good week, and his grade didn't change much for me. So just want to mention those. Let's talk about the offensive line, because this is where a bulk of it, the talking I'm going to be doing. With DeJuan Jones, he came in with the ridiculous measurements and only had 1 practice. So he came in with 36 and a half inch arms. The wingspan was 89 and a half inch, which both were records for the Senior Bowl. I'm not positive if his hands ended up being records as well, but yeah, he came in already with the ridiculous measurements, so everyone was like, oh my gosh, that should make him a first to begin with. I was like, yo, let him hit the practice field first, man, come on. But yeah, no, he had a good day, man. He showed off sheer strength and just size. He had very good reps against guys like Andre Carter, Isaiah Foskey, legit. Mike Tomlin was just smitten with him all day, day 1 of Senior Bowl practice. You could say that about Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright. Am I talking about Darnell Wright? Okay, I don't think I am because I was already pretty high on him, but he was smitten with Darnell Wright as well, who also had a very solid day, but I think it was more so just kind of solidified his stock. And yeah, no, man, DeJuan Jones, I thought did a heck of a job. He went from a top 75 prospect to a first rounder, and like, yeah, his feet don't move like they move very well for a big guy. It's still a bit clunky, could be a little bit sloppy, but like, you look at his feelings like, oh no, I think he's capable to get better at that. So yeah, no, I thought he did an exceptionally good job. Next, I got WANYA Morris out of Oklahoma, 6'5", 317. He was a cat that I was immensely impressed with this whole week. I talked about him coming in. This dude's a former 5-star. We know that we know when it comes to measurements, he's got those. Coming in with 35.5-inch arms. We know when it comes to power and athleticism, like he's got those. Like I thought he had the ability to be a very high-end prospect. It just kind of like his career just hadn't been such. It started out with a bang, kind of like, and then it just kind of like, and then he kind of ended his collegiate career there at Oklahoma, and it was like, yeah, he looks hot. This looks more like the prospect that a lot of people were thinking back in his freshman season in Tennessee. But I thought he showed really good feet, especially on a rep on day one against Dylan Horden. And it was funny, actually, I think he had a similar rep the following day against Horton too. And you can look and be like, yeah, his footwork or his hand placement specifically probably could be better, and which is fine. Like he hits what I think he hits with pop, and if he could get his hands to be more precise, then it's okay. You love what you're working with here. He shut down Derek Hall on consecutive reps. Had another win against Hall the following day in practice. I think in the game he got beat bad by who was it? I can't think of it now. I think it might have been Ollie Gay, which that would make me sad. But I think overall, man, he had a great week. I had him initially as a 5th rounder. Welcome to the top 10. Let's keep this sucker moving with Sim Richards. He goes from mid day 3 to early day 3 from me. I actually walked away mighty impressed. Like the first couple of days they were working him at guard. I didn't really like that. I didn't like the idea of him going to guard. He's 6'4", 307. He's got good length with 34-inch arms, but then he was playing tackle majority of day 3 of practice, and he looked great, man. He showed quick hands. He shut down Andre Carter, who honestly probably killed his first round hype if he still had any with this week, but he did it consecutively on one-on-one reps. He did it in scrimmage, like red zone drills and whatnot. And yeah, no, man, I think I came away impressed. I think this cat is a good guy to take a shot on in like maybe like the 4th round if you want, because this tackle class, it's not exactly the best tackle class. Like I really do think there is kind of this like lull after like some of the top 75 guys, and it's just kind of like I'm not in love with it, but I guess some of these guys are fine. So it's like the depth isn't great for it. So I think Richards made himself some money. And then Osiris Torrence goes from like top 50 to top 20. Don't know really why. I probably shouldn't have included him here because I really think he's gonna go in the top 20, man. He was just that good. 6'5", 337. Day 1 of practice had its ups and downs, but like the remainder of the week, he looked exceptionally strong, very good. Had him as a top 50, but even on my big board, he was inside the top 30. Man, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put him, because I was talking about how I didn't put Nathaniel Dell on here because it was like, I really only moved him up 10 spots, and I'm looking at Osiris Torrence, and I was like, I really only moved him up 10 spots, so it's like, maybe not, but hey, I'm happy to mention him. Steve Avila, though, is definitely worth mentioning here. 6'3", 332. Went from a third rounder to top 50 prospect for me. I think he really did a good job showing everybody is like, hey, I'm a big boy, but that don't mean I can't move. I'm quick out my stance. I'm good at getting my hands set. And you know what? I'm kind of tough to move. I'm exceptionally stout. And that's how he was there through like the whole week and even in the game, man. I thought he's probably now like the offensive interior 3 in this class after Osiris Torrence and John Michael Schmitz. Oh, again, John Michael Schmitz was already kind of a top 50 prospect. He came in and he looked the part. So heads up, didn't include him on this list because he looked the part. But I think Avila, for me at least, I think he did a lot. I mean, this was a cat, I think, in my big board, I probably had him in like the 80s or 90s, and now he's top 50. So he did a very good job. Now let's move to the defense with ADEBAWORE. Oh my gosh, get the name down, bud. Yeah, no, that's it. ADEBAWORE. There we go. Out of Northwestern, 6'1", 284, and he was one of the most disruptive guys this week. He went from a 4th rounder probably to like a top 50 for me, or at least in the top 50 vicinity, probably that like 45 to 60 area. And just the dude really showcased what he can do as a pass rusher from the interior. I thought he was all right in run fits. Like I feel like there wasn't enough for me to be like, oh man, this guy's pass rush only on the interior. I think I was like, nah, he can hang. But really, man, you look at that size, 6'1", 284, and you don't see guys at that size with 34-inch arms, 11-inch hands. Like, he's got the length, and he's just tough to deal with at that height and with that length. It's almost unfair when you just have that natural leverage to get underneath guys, and then you can hit them with those 34-inch arms. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of crazy. I thought he made himself a lot of money this week. Let's keep going with Keion White. He goes from top 75 to top 50. Fringe first rounder at this point. He had an exceptionally solid week. I thought he did exceptionally good. I mean, yeah, there were times where like he didn't really stand out much, but I thought he showed he was much more put together than what people expected and anticipated. I thought he did an exceptionally good job at that. I came way impressed. Like, he was consistently moving the line, or if it was in run fits, like setting the edge, or he was like getting pressure. Like, he had some losses through the week, but I mean, again, there were a lot of good prospects there. I think he made money. He showed off, hey, I'm an athlete. I can get after it. 6'5", 280. Yeah, I'm gonna test out well. You're gonna love me. So yeah, he's probably, a lot of people think he's kind of cemented a first round status. I think he's kind of like that. Still, I think he's fringe. So guess I'm kind of on the boat there. And then Will McDonald had a farm, EIEIO. This guy is another fringe first rounder. Again, this is all just reminiscent of Arnold Ebiketti's stock. Now, I'm not saying they're similar prospects, but in terms of their stock for older prospects, they're getting a lot of love, and they could end up in the first round, or much like with Arnold Ebiketti's case, he's going to end up being a early second round pick. But Will McDonald looked exceptionally good. He was explosive. He was quick. 6'3", 241. He was just consistent problem on one-on-ones. Came out with 35-inch arms. Like, he showed, hey, I have a build that I can definitely put more weight on. So he goes from that top 75 to top 50 for me, more in the fringe first round area. I thought he had an exceptionally good week here as well. Yaya Diaby goes from like a 6th rounder to like a fringe top 100 player for me. I thought he had an exceptionally good week. He showed twitchiness. He actually showed some really good like inside moves and whatnot on one-on-ones, and like I walked away pretty darn impressed with him. Like, I mean, he ticks a lot of boxes. 6'3", 264, came in with 34 34-inch arms, and like he just ticks a lot of boxes. This is a very good edge class. I don't know what to say. So like, yeah, no, I was wowed. I was wowed. And then onto the corners, TYRIQUE Stevenson goes from third round to a top 50. We're probably talking fringe first rounder. Daniel Jeremiah had it right there, and I love it. You know, I'm a big Hurricanes fan. I thought he did very well. He was just consistently blanking guys on day one. He's big, he's fast. He was doing a lot of, I don't even know, like, a lot of, I want to say guesswork, but he was kind of like anticipating where receivers were going to break on routes and kind of beat them to the spot. And it just seemed so risky, but it consistently worked out. He matched up very well with Andre Josefas on a longer route, which granted the ball got thrown out of bounds and Josefas ended up coming down with it, but it was out of bounds. But Stevenson, man, he had the length to, and the wingspan, the size, and challenged that all the way through. It just ended up being a really good catch that was technically a non-catch. Kind of weird, but I thought he looked exceptionally good this week. And he had also in the game that crazy backwards tackle. Actually, this was him. I'm trying to remember. I think he was anticipating Ronnie Bell to break later to the outside. And when Ronnie Bell, he broke a little bit early. And I can't remember exactly how TYRIQUE Stevenson ended up getting Ronnie Bell behind him. I think he tried to swat at the ball coming downhill and just missed it. And ended up like trying to tackle him like this. And actually almost made the tackle. So kind of insane. I love Stevenson, man. Big fan. 6 foot, 204. Yes. And then Julius Brents, also a big riser. He's kind of this fringe top 100 prospect now for me. As used to have him as a mid day 3 grade. So he did a significant amount of moving for me. Where he at here? There we go. He was just the biggest corner out there at 6'3", 202. He had very impressive reps day 1, showed physicality, showed good speed to hang downfield with guys. He don't get it mixed up. He didn't have like he doesn't I wouldn't say he had the athleticism. Definitely he did not have at least the speed of a Tariq Woolen. I want to go and look specifically at Woolen's measurements real quick. Let me pull that up, because I really liked Woolen last year. Yeah, because he was, for me, cornerback 9 in the 2022 class. Here we go. Highlight all this for me, and there we go. All right. So comparing the two, because one, I think Woolen is a better straight line athlete. Like, he tested exceptionally fast. Woolen's got a little bit more like weight and height on him, but literally not much. Like, we're talking pennies and nickels here, if that's the case. So no big whoop. Honestly, they got similar length. It's really gonna come down to the testing. So I'm interested. I just don't think Brent is the same type of prospect, but I can't wait. I think that's gonna be really cool. I got Darius Rush on here because I came in just not that high on him, and he goes from a late day 3 guy for me now to an early day 3. Yeah, bumped him up that much, and because I'm asking the question, well, because this week had me go like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go back and look at the tape. And you know what it really is this is the cat that made the move from, I believe it was wide receiver. Let me pull up my notes. Yeah, he made the move from wide receiver, moved to corner in 2022, but mainly played special teams and then missed time with an undisclosed injury. And it was really 2021 where it was like he had a really good breakout campaign. in 2021. And then he was kind of hampered by injury early in the season in 2022, but ended up still having a solid game. And like you'd watch him and be like, oh man, he's still kind of lacking like the overall feel. Like you could tell he reads and reacts sometimes slow, just doesn't have that good feel for coverage yet. And then he came out and played. It showed an exceptionally good feel for coverage. Really. I still think this guy's better at playing stuff underneath than he is turning and going with. I still think his back pedal's transition, and that is still a little clunky. But I can see now why a lot of people like him, because he's got good size, he's got great length. So he's a guy that's flashed ball skills through his career, or at least did last year and the year before. Let me pull up. So he had 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. This past season had an interception and 8 pass breakups in 2021. So yeah, showcased that. So probably a guy that's a better prospect than I was giving him credit for. And then Sidney Brown just had a banger week. 5'10", 213. Goes from top 75 to current top 50, again in that fringe 50 area. But it was a pretty freaking darn impressive week. It really was. I came away like this guy was everywhere around the football. And you're not going to see James Robinson on this list, because honestly, like he went out there and he was, for me, as good as advertised. When it came to Sidney Brown, I was like, this cat should be a lot closer to James Robinson than I'm giving him credit for, than where my initial big board was entering the Senior Bowl event. So that's why I have Sidney Brown here as the riser, and really not a James Brown, who had a really good week. So honestly, I actually came away very impressed with a lot of the safeties here. I'm only going to mention one more to this safety / linebacker in MARTE MAPU. He was a guy I liked in the NFLPA Bowl. He comes over here to the Senior Bowl, and he has an exceptionally good day one of practice. I thought he was exceptionally solid. This is a guy that the concerns were probably his play strength, and he had no problem coming downhill and making plays on the line of scrimmage, and navigating blockers, or at least navigating traffic. He's coming in with really good measurements, man. 33.5-inch arms, 6'2", 217. I think he's going to test out pretty darn well as well. But I do want to note Jartavius Martin. He looked exceptionally good, but he was a guy I really liked. If anything, I kind of like, instead of saying he's like a fringe day 2 guy, I just went ahead and moved him into day 2. I thought Daniel Scott looked solid, but still probably a midday guy. Ronnie Hickman, he got busted up in the not like hurt, but he got toasted in the one-on-ones. He's just not. That's just not him, though. Like, the one-on-ones are geared for receivers to win anyway. So I won't overreact to that. I just want. But oh yeah, Kayvon Merriweather I thought was solid. So like a lot of guys looked solid. But let's go ahead to my fallers this week. I only have a few. Elijah Higgins had a midday 3, dropping him to a late day 3, and I don't know, man. I know he's gonna test out exceptionally well, 6'2", 228, but he just wasn't there this week, you know. Like, whether like it was a bad look when Caillou Blue Kelly in the scrimmages ripped the ball out of his hands and took it for a pick 6, and Elijah Higgins didn't even make an effort to go after and get him. Like, it just wasn't good look. Maybe if that was a game situation, he would. I don't know. I don't know where his head was exactly at this week. But he had a few good plays. Hey, don't count this guy out. He had a really good move in the Senior Bowl game, where it would have forced Chris Smith to have to wrap him up for a pass interference, or or else it would have been, or defensive holding, whatever, or else it would have been a touchdown on Higgins' part. So there's still stuff there. I still kind of like him, I still kind of lean as a midday day 3 pick, but he's gonna have to test out as good as people are saying he will, because Senior Bowl was not an impressive week for him. Ryan Hayes, by far had some of the worst losses, littered all over Twitter. Coming in at 6'6", 305, just didn't look like he could handle speed or power. Like, his pass protection just looked like dog water, unfortunately. I thought he was solid as a run blocker, in like the 9-on-7 or 7-on-9, or the end zone drills, like red zone drills, excuse me. I thought he looked good in run fits, but his pass protection looked absolutely terrible this week, and I don't know. I'm just having that reoccurring. I think I just hate Michigan tackles. I mean, you could go back to freaking last year with. I'm looking them up too. Where you at, bruh? Oh, Andrew Stuber, where a lot of people liked him, and then I had UDFA on him. What was it, Jalen Mayfield, the guy that eventually got drafted by the Falcons. I absolutely hated him as a prospect. Again, I don't hate these guys. I'm sure they're great, but like personally, but didn't like him as a prospect. I think I just have maybe a thing against Michigan tackles. I don't know, because I actually kind of liked Hayes going into this, and then those the one-on-ones and pass rush just were terrible. They just were. But I gotta mention my boy Blake Freeland here too. He had a rough week. 6'7", 312. Goes from top 50 to like third rounder for me. Like kind of fringe top 100 at this point. He just wasn't Abraham Lucas. That's the thing. Abraham Lucas had a banger Senior Bowl last year. Freeland, he had some wins, but then he had some losses, and some of them were pretty ugly. I think it was DIABY that put the move on him. Here, I got notes. What am I doing? Let's just look at those. Where are you, Blake Freeland? Yeah, it was YAYA DIABY. He worked an outside-inside move, and Freeland lost balance. Don't even think he put a hand on DIABY. He had a couple of bad losses in the Senior Bowl game, and it just looks like he's probably more of a project than at least I initially anticipated. So, yeah, now I have him more around where Abraham Lucas actually went, opposed to where Abraham Lucas should have gone. That dude should have been a top 50 prospect, man. Top 50 prospect. But that's it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, thank you for all your support. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.